Good afternoon, everyone. We are here today with Candice from Arrova Media and Communications. How are you doing today, Candice?
I'm good, Curti. Thanks for having me here. I'm really glad to just be here and chat to you a little bit about my business.
So tell us, Candice, what it is that you do. What is your business about?
So my business, Arrova Media and Communications, is predominantly, the purpose of it is to predominantly assist other businesses with their English. So whether it's copywriting, web writing, I help write resumes, social media posts, proofreading, pretty much anything English related in the business sphere.
How did you find yourself in the copywriting and English business? Is there any specific event that made you come in this specific area?
There was actually, I think really COVID in general was probably the event. So at the beginning of last year when COVID started, I noticed there were a lot of posts online and the English just wasn't great. And even on a lot of websites, I've noticed a lot of English that just could be tweaked, it could be better. And I just thought that that's something I could help with. I've got a degree in English. I've worked for a few years as an English teacher, as a high school English teacher. So I'm pretty good with proofreading and picking up mistakes. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that's something that I can help a lot of other businesses with. And that was kind of, I suppose, the event that led me to this.
Who would you say your role model is? Is there someone you look up to in business?
Well, that's a really good question, Curti. I wouldn't say that there's any specific person I look up to. I do follow quite a few women entrepreneurs and leaders in business on platforms like LinkedIn, and I love what they have to say. And then also just I think at school, I had some great teachers. My high school English teacher was a real role model in my life, and one of the reasons that I ended up going into teaching myself and predominantly English. And she just inspired me to be a good teacher. So I tried to be that as a teacher. I tried to follow in her footsteps. And now as a business owner and somebody in the business world, I just really try to follow in the footsteps of a lot of people that I've seen who just keep things professional, who present themselves really well and just have content to share that's really good and really worthwhile reading.
As a trained teacher moving into a copywriter role, what issues have you faced in the Mauritian business arena and how did you overcome them?
I think that there were probably a few challenges I faced. Probably the first thing is the fact that I've moved into the Mauritian business market and I don't speak French. So sometimes I find that that's a little bit of a handbrake. But then again, because I work predominantly in English, it is kind of accepted that I don't speak French. And I've also just really found it great joining things like Mauritius Business Network because I've met a lot of other entrepreneurs and it's given me a lot of confidence. I started out knowing a lot about proofreading and needing to slowly get into the copywriting side of things. Obviously, as a teacher, I spent a lot of time correcting essays and errors, so I was really confident with the proofreading, but the copywriting has definitely taken time getting into. And the more I do it and the more I practice, the more confident I get. So it's been great just meeting other people in the business arena and being able to just build that confidence slowly that way.
The last year has been particularly difficult for small businesses and many businesses have not been able to survive. What have you done to be able to sustain your business?
Well, I'd say that my business basically started post-COVID. It's about a year old now. So it was not an easy thing to start a new business post-COVID. And obviously, it was my first time entering the business world in Mauritius. So I really had to start everything from scratch. Joining MBN was a huge step in the right direction as I made a lot of connections and I received a lot of referrals. I find that Mauritius in general runs on referrals. People like to know that somebody else that they know has used you or used your services and that you are trustworthy. So I think that's probably been the biggest thing. And one of the things I would advise people the most is join a business network, whether it's a local LinkedIn group or whether it's something like MBN or alternatively even a Facebook group like Women in Business Mauritius. Something like that's really helpful.
What would you say is the predominant way you market your business and how has this helped you?
Well, I don't actually do very much marketing. As I've said, a lot of my work comes through referrals, and I do belong to quite a few networks, so I've received referrals through those. And that's probably the biggest way. I do spend some time on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page. I've got an Instagram page. But I'd say on the social media side, probably the biggest thing would be LinkedIn and really just boosting my personal profile. Because at the end of the day, my business is me. I'm the one who's offering the service. So on the personal side, on my personal LinkedIn profile, I really try and market myself as somebody who's fairly good with writing and good with English.
How socially conscious are you? Do you think your business is eco-friendly?
Well, I think I probably print a little bit more than I should. I could probably get away from printing things. I still tend to be a little bit old school, and I do like to have something on paper. But then again, most of my business is online. I basically need a laptop and an internet connection to get what I need to done. So in that way, I'd say it's pretty environmentally friendly. On the other hand, in my personal capacity, I do put emphasis on recycling. I try not to drive as much as I need to. I think one of the great things that COVID has shown us is that you can do a lot online and you don't always need to meet people face to face. So whereas normally you would maybe drive across the island for a meeting can take place really easily on Zoom, and obviously it lowers your carbon footprint in that way. So I think that's one of the things that a lot of people have learned, and the way that people have improved over the past year. So I'd say that it's probably the biggest thing is that I meet a lot of people on Zoom and work online.
Being an entrepreneur can be a lonely journey. How did you get over this, and how did it work for you?
Again, I'll mention MBN. I think joining a business network was probably the best thing I did. As I've said, I made a lot of connections. And again, social groups on Facebook. There are lots of groups for people in business. And LinkedIn as well. I'm on a couple of LinkedIn groups, which I find very helpful. If I've got a question about something in particular, for example, WordPress, I can put a question on the group. And it's just a great way to speak to like-minded individuals. And then I think just also having great family support. My family in South Africa, as well as my husband, have been really supportive of me. And that's been great because I know that everything that I'm doing, they've got my back. And especially I've got a 7-year-old daughter. So just sometimes I can't make time, I make pickups at school and things. And so my husband stepped in a lot to assist with that if I'm at a meeting. And that's just really helped me on the practical side of things.
Do you have any business advice for those who have just started their business journey?
I think first thing is have a business plan. Really, really important. When I applied for my permit, that was one of the things that I was required to do. And it actually helped me just center what I was going to do and have ideas on how to market things. It just all kind of came together while I was sitting writing that business plan. And I think one of the other things is find a team, find people that can support you, people that can encourage you. Trying to do it all on your own is never helpful. So definitely having a team. And then I think also just being able to manage your time well. It's still something I'm learning. I'm not great at that. Sometimes I do tend to burn the midnight oil a little bit more than I should. But I'm really trying to just have a routine where I stop working at 5, I spend time with my family. And I think just having that balance, that work-life balance and managing your time, especially in my case, I work from home. So, your office is just always there. So having that balance and trying to limit the time I spend and have sort of business hours for my business has helped a lot.
So before we end, do you have any favorite quote that you would like to share with us?
There are a few. I've got a lot of favorite quotes. I'd say probably the one that's on my website, which is kind of what sparked my entire business, was that you only have one chance to make a first impression. And I think everything I do, I keep that in mind, with the way that I approach people, whether it's on email, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone. I want to make a good first impression, and I try my best to do that. And so that's sort of the mantra I would say that I go through. And again, it sparked my entire business because the English, I always say to people, the English on their sites, the English on their social pages, it needs to make a good first impression. Okay. So that's sort of what I run my business by, and thought process behind it.
Thank you for sharing, Candice. That was very enlightening. Have a very great afternoon ahead.
Thanks so much, Gertie.